morning, everybody. I hope you're all having a great day today. Um, I just thought I'd talk a little bit about change today. We can see as we get older, we change in different ways. And for some, it's going great. For some, it's going bald. For some, it's putting on a few pounds or um, maybe more aches and pains. And as we grow and we change physically, we also change in our way of thinking sometimes. Uh, when we call on God, He helps us keep track of what is important and what isn't. And quite often, people start relying more on God as we get older. Is that because we become more vulnerable, more susceptible maybe to ailments or injuries? Is it because we can think better? We realize that we're not infallible or immortal. Um, when we think about change, as the people around us change too. And as people change, there's different things that cause different reasons for the people around us to change. And then there again, it affects how we change. Um, and today isn't so much about breaking a bone or things of that nature. But um, Sandy's been in and out of the hospital uh, quite often. And again, at the beginning of this week, she was in only for one night, thank goodness. Another one of them 33-day stays would be really hard to take, but calling on God helps. Um, and I see so many changes going on in her, and it, it's making changes in me too, and having to adapt, or figure out what way to adjust according to how she changes can be difficult. But calling on God is something that's a must. Having Him in my life, and Him being my number one. And Sandy knows right now God is my number one, and she understands because God is her number one. But as she changes and her dementia progresses, whether she'll realize that or understand that, I don't know. And He's number one in her life, and praying to Him and asking Him to help her is something that will be required more and more as time goes, I think. And it's hard to see changes in somebody we love. It's hard to see them not be able to necessarily reason or necessarily um, understand or comprehend. Uh, and when you don't get that from somebody, then it changes you and the way you try and communicate with that person. And when that happens, God is there. And, calling on God, and especially right from the start, is so important. And I didn't lean on God near as much as I should have at the beginning of this journey. And uh, the more this goes on, the more leaning on God, the more asking Him for compassion, the more asking Him for understanding, the more asking Him for me to make realizations when I need to, and adjustments how I need to. Sometimes I don't always do that, and then, of course, frustration sets in. And that is not something that's a good thing. Understanding and compassion. God gives us that. He teaches us that. His son showed us that. And uh, using that compassion that we've been shown and we've been given, opening up to learning that we do need to change and accepting the changes and uh, calling on God to help us with the changes that we need to make uh, is always a positive. Um, and even if these changes are for something that's heartbreaking or something that's difficult, something we don't understand, something that we don't want to happen, but we know is going to. Accepting these changes is going to come from getting help from God. God will help us accept these changes and learn to adjust to these changes and give us the ability to make the changes within ourselves to be able to live with these changes. And when you love somebody, when they are second only to God, calling on God to be able to see these changes and work with what we have within our means and with what God gives us. It's calling on Him that gives us the ability to do that. Uh, I know there are a lot of you out there that are seeing changes in your life physically, mostly mentally. As we get older, they say we get wiser, and I'm not sure if that's totally accurate. We learn from our mistakes, but how wise can we be when we don't know what to do in certain situations, when things change so much on us and we have no clue what to do? The when we're at a point where we don't know which direction to turn or how to take something or what to do to get something accomplished that we're struggling with, that's when we need to turn to God. That's when we need to take the time and turn to God and ask Him for help, guidance, support, strength, comfort, all these things. Understanding. Help us to learn. Uh, we need to ask God for so much. And although one person's situation may be seeing somebody they love and deteriorate in one way, there may be somebody's um, loved one deteriorating in another way. And I think as we get older, it gets easier to realize and understand there is a God, and He's the most powerful, and He's the one that gives us the most. Like no one else can give us what He gives us to get by day to day and week to week, month to month, however you want to say it. With Him, any grim outlooks, anything or anyone you love, you see just having struggles worse and worse all the time. With Him, you can accept that that is just the way the circumstance is and finding a way to deal with it, to handle it, to make it as easy as possible on your loved one and help them the best as possible. That's calling on God for that, because He's the one that can guide us in that direction. And right now, I'm at a point in this struggle where calling on God is what I have left um, to do, because my frustration does not help anything. Being short does not help anything. Calling on God helps everything. It helps calm me. It helps me stop to think and be a little bit more understanding. Um, Without God, I don't know how anybody can get through things that are tough. And not just in my situation, but everybody has some kind of tough situation. And it doesn't necessarily have to mean that you're getting older. You can have tough situations and need to call on God from a young age. Someone you love does not have to be um, a romantic love. It can be a love for a parent or a love for a sibling, and watching them go through any number of things. When you see somebody, anybody that you love in any way, going through something that is deteriorating their health in one way or another, mentally, physically, emotionally, um, uh, uh, making it so they cannot function day to day, whatever it is. Um, Calling on God is where you're going to draw your strength and you're going to draw your knowledge as to how to move every day. Or if things change from one minute, everything is great to the next minute. There's just no grasp of anything. Um, and we haven't totally got that far in this particular situation, but not only is whoever is ill in whatever way or has some kind of something going on that affects their well-being. It could be that they're going along just fine, and the next thing you know, uh, their kidneys are acting up, and they have to do what, I don't know, some kind of treatment or something for their kidneys, and then they may be going along good for a while, and it may be something come up with that again, and it may just be a process. Sometimes they may be ill 2, 3, 4 days in a row and good for a few days, and then just back and forth. Sometimes it may be months between. It doesn't have to just be like dementia, it could be any kind of thing. And dealing with it at any age, it doesn't matter if you're 20 years old and you have a 22-year-old sibling you're watching deteriorate, or if you're 60 years old and you're watching your spouse or whoever you're in a relationship with and watching them deteriorate. Calling on God, accepting the changes, and being able to ask God to help you make the changes you need for the situation. And He's always there. He'll always help you with that. And when you call on strength to change how you handle a situation so that you can handle it for the best, you can ask Him to give you strength and courage to face it, and comfort to face it, and understand you're not changing who you are um, in your belief for Him. You're changing how you perceive and do things to make it more comfortable for your loved one. Calling on God is so important, and the strength you need sometimes is so important. It's God is glorious and God is merciful, and He will be there for us. He will help us. He will get us through. He will show us what we need to do, which is to just pray and ask Him for that guidance, for that path to travel, for that comfort, for the knowledge and how to move ahead, uh, and how to support your loved one for whatever their changes are. The best you can do. God will help you with that. He'll get you through it. But I know this is a little long and it's a little bit different. Um, just know that whatever we see a loved one go through, and it could be a parent or a spouse or a sibling or just a close friend, a cousin, you know, it doesn't matter when you love somebody. Um, it's hard to watch them go through changes that you know are going to affect them the rest of their life. And coping, God will help you cope. He'll help you get through it. He'll help you take care of it. Oh gosh, sorry about that funny view of my eye. Anyway, uh, call on God. He'll help us get through the changes and learn to make the changes we need to. Y'all have a great day. Goodbye.